Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D, campaign number 2 of Black Ink and Blue Blood. When we last left off, the party, teaming up with a team of dwarvish mercenaries and a pair of druidic witches, began traveling to the Copper Mountain and the host of Myberstrom Prison, the Aegis Federation prison camp where they maintain prisoners of war and use them for labor. Making their way there, the party has agreed to maintain secrecy about the dwarves' illegal operations in the area with a few other local criminal groups, in exchange for keeping the druidic women in the dark on things so that they do not get in anyone's way. Zephyr had a race with the dwarvish scout, who managed to at least put up a good fight before Zephyr took the victory. Studying the village where there are strange goings-on involving the local wildlife, they began making their way back. Lucian consulted with a druid and before finally her goddess, before finally seeming for now to have settled on a path for herself. Whatever it is her brother's planning that he may believe is in the family's best interests, the goddess seems to disagree. And the necromancer must be stopped by any means necessary. We shall see how long Lucian's inner peace lasts. In the meantime, which of the elves was taking second watch?
Well, I took first watch, so
Yeah,
that would be Lucian.
All right, so yeah, Lucian, you will get a point of exhaustion.
That's fine. Before what's-his goes down, Lucian wants to ask him something.
Okay, go ahead. We will pick up there.
Before you go to that, I had a quick proposal that maybe we can, I guess it will be up to the boys if they want to be involved or not. I don't really care if they do or don't. But after we're done with, the castle and all of that bullshit, I do think that we should help the druids. It just seems like the right thing to do.
Well, if the animals are acting as weird as they said, we'll see it soon enough.
Yeah, I have a feeling that it has to do with the castle or whatever she's doing there. But if it doesn't resolve itself when we're finished, I do think that we should help.
Well, if it doesn't resolve itself by the time we're done with the castle, there may not be anything we can do.
We could tell them.
Tell them what?
Lucian just kind of raises an eyebrow. I know you're stupid, but you're not that stupid.
Telling them that, I don't think that would do any good. We're talking about animals, not,
How is that different? I mean, animals have to live too, and that's what creates a good ecosystem. And, I worship Shiva, who is the goddess of life and nature, so, I mean, I kind of feel like I really want to help.
Well, we'll figure something out as far as helping. But I don't think that's the right one to go with. But if it comes down to it, just if Dr. Knight did do something, check her notes. If she's as meticulous as you are, she'll have put it in her paperwork somewhere.
I can't predict what she has and has not written down, or what will be available, what kind of information will be available, because if what I'm thinking might be true, she might be, a little careful where she hides things.
Well, if she ends up dead, you got that spell where you can make her talk while she's dead.
Lucian shrugs her chin a little bit in thought.
Not how the spell works, but you know.
As
I
far as
don't.
he's
As
concerned, it
far
is.
no. As far as that's concerned, I mean, I could do that, but I mean, they don't have to answer, so I feel like it would just be a waste.
Well, she'd be dead. She wouldn't have anything to, lose by not answering.
Yeah, but we would have everything to gain. You understand?
Yes, but if she's dead, does she really care?
Obviously, because I mean, she's a part of this, you know, evil thing, whatever it is.
Yeah,
I just don't think that killing her is the correct approach.
we'll just have to wait and see. We gotta get there first. We gotta get there in one piece.
Yeah, speaking of, go get some sleep.
And he'll go to sleep.
Okay. Zephyr. You and the scout are well on your way back to the camp by this point, and the scout, the beardless dwarf, kind of pipes up offhandedly as you make your way closer. I don't know about you, but I'm planning on just going down for a nap once all's said and done. Won't be a full sleep, but I'd rather go in half-baked than raw, I guess. What are you planning to do?
Well, I prefer if I get in this at full strength, so I'll probably see about just sleeping in the cart.
Yeah, just sleep on the way there. We'll keep an eye on you.
Lucian's planning to do.
Lucian, as What's-His settles in for a meditative rest, you see a light, almost mist disturbance in the tree line before Zephyr and the scout return.
Did you guys have a nice run?
Yeah, it was at least I would say a challenge.
Yeah, your boy's fast.
Yeah, before he falls asleep. Who won?
The dwarf kind of jerks his thumb over to Zephyr.
Dang it.
Does that mean I get your money? What's this?
Yeah, I'll pass him 18 gold as agreed.
18 was it? Then he gave me 11.
No, because the dwarf bet 9, so What's-His said he would double whatever the dwarf bet. So
I know that the dwarf bet 11 or something, but no. Right.
Lucian just rolls her eyes. Well, I'm going to sleep once everybody else is up.
won't be long.
I'm used to being up this early anyway.
I'm going down for a nap. And he makes his way into the lumber mill and finds an unoccupied leather sleeping bag to fill with his dwarfy body.
Glad to see you're making friends, Zephyr.
Well, I'll probably go to sleep now.
He's just like, no comment.
All right. If there's nothing else before camp is broken, the sun is already beginning to rise in the sky.
Well, in morning, there is one thing I want to do.
Okay.
So my ionic
Hello.
axe.
There we go.
Your ionic axe.
Does it have any charge left, or is it just an axe now?
Well, the ionic axes don't actually need recharging.
You mean like
You said they ran off
charge?
of plasma.
No, they do, but like basically they don't have like ammunition.
I think he's
Like,
asking, do they have any charge to do the extra damage and all the extra stuff?
yeah, which yes, they do.
So I'm not sure if I've been using it right then. So what is the extra damage then?
The extra damage is it's a +2, and you can of course throw it because it's a lot lighter than a traditional axe of that size.
Well, I think he's saying like, what does the battery part affect it?
Well, the battery part is just flavor. It doesn't like mechanically do anything.
Oh, okay.
You were thinking of the gauntlets.
That
Yeah, the
That's
gauntlets
right.
needed batteries because they channeled lightning, so the lightning needed to come from somewhere. The ionic axes are just tipped with a low undercurrent of plasma, which an energy cell is more than capable of maintaining for the weapon's lifespan.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
All right, what's
Yeah, I
his?
thought
Oh,
I was using a regular ammo because it ran out.
no worries. Uh, what's his? You get a short rest since you kept waking up sporadically throughout the night. Uh, Lucian, you get a point of exhaustion. Zephyr,
Once
you
everybody's up, she'll go curl up in the cart.
all right,
Maybe
Lucian.
with the lady, like curl up with Nana. Keep her company.
All right. And Zephyr, I'm assuming you're just going to sleep unless disturbed.
Yep.
All right. You may give yourself a short rest if you wish, but you may also wait to see if you get a long rest.
Just gonna sleep as much as possible.
What's his? How about you? You just going to stay up throughout the day?
Well, technically, since he is a guard, yes.
Okay. So
We'll say like, man, such bodyguards have like 90% of our sleep.
I mean, the dwarves are still up.
Well, and the strongest ones are still awake at least.
Oh,
As one by one, the party all curls up in the carriage for rest. Indeed, the elves, you hear it due to the nature of your meditation, but the druid, as the young apprentice druid escorts Nana inside, she kind of glances at all the sleeping party members and kind of rolls her eyes a little bit and just some bodyguards.
allowed to communicate during meditation?
What's that?
Am I allowed to like talk during my meditation?
It will interrupt it, but you can.
Nah, I'm good.
As you one by one begin to sleep, Caleb, you are awoken by the shrill whistle of the lead dwarf. All right, everyone, we're moving out. Last leg of the journey before we get to the mountain. Don't leave anything behind unless you want something taking it.
I got all my stuff.
As you all one by one approach the cart, and what's this for a point of clarification, because I think you may have misspoken. So are you sleeping or are you staying awake?
He is staying awake.
Okay, so you take you get a short rest, but you do not take a point of exhaustion yet, as long as you get, since you at least got a short rest. Uh, as the dwarves approach with What's-Is and Caleb in tow, you can see the lead dwarf kind of smirks at Zephyr and Lucian sleeping in the carriage. And long night.
Yeah, they've got a bad habit. Well, at least Lucian does.
How'd that race go, Scout? He's fast. He's like one of those little tiny little, except no, not
Cut out.
much anyway. But
You cut out there. I heard tiny lizards accept something.
he
Oh, No, I just don't hear you. Oh,
Better?
I don't know.
Testing
Not
as
better.
many tabs as I can.
Rip. He was a good DM. We loved
How
him
about now?
very dearly. Oh, there he is. He's alive.
That's
Sorry, I was just
better.
giving your eulogy.
And he was just saying that, like, basically Zephyr's like a gecko if it was slightly bigger. Very slightly.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, apparently I do not have the bandwidth to monitor the stream, but it seems like the audio is running smoothly right now, so.
Yeah, I did all that.
Yeah, finally thought we got someone who would actually best him, but guess not.
Yeah, I came close, but we dwarves are sprinters. Not so good over long distances.
Well, that just totally reminded me of Lord of the Rings.
That's the bit. Alright, if I take a nap, boss. Your fault for staying up. Deal with it. The scout kind of grumbles, but kind of shakes his head to wake himself up and takes up a watchful position towards the front of the carriage. All right, let's get our precious cargo to the village. Is there anything anyone wants to say or do on the way to the village?
I'll just meditate with the intention of fiddling with my spells.
Okay. What's his, Caleb? Anything? Or
So,
you just...
did y'all actually see anything of note while you were out scouting?
Well, the druids weren't lying. Certainly is something up with the animals. They're just kind of wandering around, not bothering anyone. At least the people don't seem too freaked out by it. Guess they're used to it.
Well, that's weird.
They ain't hurting anybody. Honestly, I think it's an improvement. After the last time I fought a chemosit, I'm not interested in doing it again. Broke my fucking ribs, that thing did.
I want to ask, but I'm unconscious.
Well, remember it for later.
She wouldn't know.
I think.
Yeah,
You
you're
can
meditating.
still
When
hear it, you
you
just
can
can't
hear everything. It's
communicate.
just that you would break your concentration on meditation if you like respond
Uh,
and engaged.
Okay.
Yeah.
If there's no objections, you make your way up the beaten path towards Myberstrom. Most of you have at least, a vague familiarity with the prison. Built in the year 567 of the Third Age, the prison first came into prominence 5 years later, where the new leadership of the Aegis Federation came to power by liquidating the assets of their competition. You would recall that your father was quite taken aback by that development, as his allies during the War of Gilded Roses were basically suddenly obliterated as the new Federation took power.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And what more took him aback wasn't just the deviousness of such a move, it was the strange method of going about it. The dwarves have always been seen as a rather strange lot, but even stranger to effectively destroy your political opponents without ever drawing a blade.
How did he do it?
Oh, son, I think you might need to back your microphone up a little.
Yeah, it's very slight, but yeah, it is there.
About this.
Yeah, a little scratchy sound.
Yeah, because my hand's right next to it.
And you can roll history if you want response, but from what your father mentioned, in discussion on the matter. The leader of what is now the Aegis Federation simply gathered their political rivals for what was ostensibly a friendly diplomatic meeting mountain, only to reveal that they had, through a combination of blackmail and diplomacy, acquired a significant amount of their enemy's wealth and liquidated it, which meant they no longer had any pull. Imagine going to work one day only to find out that while you were away from home, your bosses robbed you blind.
Oh,
And it was a 17.
Further details, you recall that part of the new Federation's rise to power was because they were supporting an up-and-coming kingdom that gave them more political sway. After all, a change of leadership is not instantly going to be respected unless you prove yourself. And in Yav, money sense does not get you respect. Military strength does. But whenever the rulers of what is now known as the Kingdom of Tebedra revealed that they consider the Aegis Federation friends and allies, everyone was kind of forced to give in. The dwarves posted up the Tebedrans, and then the dwarves sabotaged each other and used their new asset of the Tebedrans to their advantage. Again, something that your father found respectable but odd. The idea that you can completely destroy someone without ever directly hurting anyone. Your father always fancied the blade over the pen.
Yes, that one he is well aware of. I like to think that he still remembers the sparring matches between the two of them when he was younger,
Oh yeah.
and still winces a bit at some of the blows that were not, held back at all.
5 years later, the prisoners and the labor the dwarves forced them to conduct built a railway through the Underdark that supposedly, although you have never seen it yourself, connects not only all the Aegis Federation's prisons, but connects to several Underdark cities. Again, the Aegisians are so infamously isolated that the truth of this, or the significance of it, is hard to determine. But as a result of this, whether it is true or not, Myberstrom is now seen as the center of the Aegis Federation's slave trade, and is the administrative center of many Underdark prisons. However, and what's is with your history roll, I will say you definitely know this. You had heard that the Aegis Federation closed Myberstrom prison about a year or so ago.
So how is it still running?
Indeed.
I have a few ideas.
As you all make your way, you all get a long rest. This trip does take several hours. Zephyr the
Yay.
dwarf had to sprint it. And as the tired among you all begin to stir, just as a clarification, you do not get a long rest, but you do still get your short rest, so you're not exhausted.
Gonna work with my spell.
Okay.
As you all begin to stir, you can hear the dwarfish captain speak up. We're here. And you all get a look now in the daylight of what Zephyr and the scout had seen at night. A small but bustling dwarvish village at the foot of the Copper Mountain. And even at a glance, Lucian, you can see what the druids were talking about, as well as what Zephyr and the dwarf had reported. Dwarves, gnomes, and halflings roam the streets, but alongside them are Chemosit bears, wargish wolves. But despite absolutely considering, especially creatures of this size, prey, the animals are calm, completely peaceful. Caleb, you and Zephyr turn your attention to your objective. Working its way up the mountain, you can see a lattice work of switchbacking bridges and pathways that lead to a chasmous hole at the peak of the mountain, presumably leading in to Mybrostrom itself. You would know this village you're looking at, known by the same name as Mybrostrom, is known mostly for two things with your history roll. One, because of its proximity to Mybrostrom, it is effectively a mining town. However, a mining town that has the luxury of never actually having to mine anything. The prisoners do it for them, or at least they did before the prison closed. As a result, the people who live in Mybrostrom are living humble, but by this time period standards, pretty luxurious lives. Literally, all you have to do is just be smart with your investment in various ores and minerals, hope that the prisoners mine enough for you, and then once it enters the public market, buy up however much you think is appropriate, and as long as you're smart, you can do a lot without ever having to lift a finger, profiting off of the labor of a person you will never meet.
It's like an idle game.
Essentially, yes. That's actually a very good example. Living in Mybrostrom is basically like playing an idle game, except there, you at least if you click on the wrong thing, you might fuck yourself.
Yeah, true.
Like, mix an idle game with the stock market. You would also know that, again, because of its proximity to the prison, Mybrostrom is also a trade hub for the Aegis Federation. The Copper Mountain is an incredible source of mineral wealth for the dwarves, and as a result, the village is literally just there to act as a public market for the goods and profits gained from the prison. After all, it wouldn't do for a family like the Alefakirs to be seen dealing with slave traders, but if they're just dealing with merchants, what's the harm?
Fair
And
enough.
it's not Mr. Alefakir's fault if he forgets to ask where they got the ore from.
Yeah, quote unquote, forget.
Or the test subjects.
Very true.
So, having been closed a year, how does the mine itself look from here?
Roll perception.
I got my spells all settled.
26.
Are we by the castle, or, like, are we somewhere else?
You're on the outskirts of the village.
Okay. I'll talk to the druids, once I get a chance.
Alright, just a moment. As you squint and look up at the peak of the mountain, it does look abandoned, at least at a glance. However, you are keenly able to spot plumes of smoke coming from the mountain. It could easily be mistaken for clouds or even just perhaps a dormant volcano, but it looks a little too brackish to be ashy smoke.
Do I notice this too? I mean, my passive is 23, so.
But What's has got a 26.
Okay.
I will point it out to others. And he'll make sure his voice is raised enough for the dwarves that accompany him to hear. This is pretty interesting for being inactive.
Yeah, that's something, ain't it?
Well, dormant volcanoes still, steam from
It's
one.
not a dormant volcano. They're still active. They just said they weren't. Good show, though.
He gives you a grin, but does not push the subject. All right, ladies, this is your stop, ain't it? And Lucian, the apprentice, kind of gets the attention of her mentor and kind of disrupts you from your comfortable position as she pulls her away and starts disembarking from the caravan.
Before they leave, can she just, like, put her hand on their shoulders? I'm sorry that we can't help you right now, but...
It's fine. We have a job to do, and I'm guessing you guys are here for a reason, even if that reason is just money. Speaking of... She kind of rolls her eyes and reaches into her pockets. Yes, yes. And she tosses a small coin pouch at the dwarf, who catches it.
That's not what I'm talking about. But I do want you guys to know that I do want to help. So if you guys still need help after, like, you know, I don't know how long this is gonna take us. So, like, we'll come back, or at least I'll come back and see if you guys still need help.
She kind of gives a stiff nod, and after a moment of consideration, glances to you. Look, just don't overthink it. We know what we're doing. Or at least I do. She's been training me for this for years. Once I get a good look at these animals and get a chance to talk to them, I'm sure I'll piece it together.
Lucian gives a nod. Just don't be a stranger. Send a squirrel, you know?
She kind of...
What did they say?
Send a squirrel.
Send this.
don't be a stranger, send a squirrel.
We need that on a t-shirt now.
We'll be alright. Take care of yourselves. Come on, let's go.
I'll just like, as I go, I'll just be like, may Shiva guide you.
And may the nature spirits forgive you.
Ooh.
Lucian just like has like that look on her face.
Come on, you old bat. We got some animals to talk to. Goodbye, little candle.
I'll try not to burn myself. I'll try not to burn myself out. Don't worry about me.
She gives a smile, and her eyes crinkle sincerely as her and her young apprentice begin making their way towards the village.
As they leave, Lucian just is like, I'm gonna miss her.
Right, well, thanks to you lot, we have a business meeting where we don't have any products. So I'm hoping for all our sakes you got a good pitch to make to that quack.
Oh, Dr. Knight? Absolutely. Don't you worry about it. I have it all in here. She like taps her head.
That does not give me comfort in the slightest.
She kind of gives a shrug.
Yeah, it really shouldn't.
She shrugs.
But
Well,
a deal's a deal.
Before there's any trouble, how attached are you to this client?
You're,
We're not going to kill her, Caleb.
Well, for what it's worth, you're Tabadrin from what I hear, so you get it. I'm not attached to my client so much as I am to the money. And we've already been paid, so...
So whatever happens, happens.
Let's just try to resort to violence, okay? We always resort to violence.
Well,
I'm trying to do this by paying.
You say we, it's more y'all. There's violence.
I want to just see if we can't get these guys out by just paying for them. Whatever happens after that, well...
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to go approach her. I don't fucking care if she knows I'm coming.
If the shit hits the fan, you guys, and he's looking at the dwarfs, you might want to go. It won't be well.
Pretty sure they're already prepared for that. They said.
Yeah, man. We like you, but we're not friends.
Lucian shrugs. I don't even expect my own party members to join me, so it's fine.
That's smart. They go where the money's good.
Which is... whatever.
I'm going with you, Lucian. I'm just saying, I don't expect it to end as peacefully as you'd like. But I will give it a good chance.
Lucian nod. All we can do is try.
Yeah, let's think of it this way. I always tell the boys, whenever there's some kind of argument going on, let's see what happens, and you'll know who's right by the end.
I
Lucian
gotta
rolls
remember
her
that one.
eyes.
Lucian, can you please use your keen mind on that one? I need to make a note of that.
Fine, I'll make a
Usually-
note of it.
Use your keen mind.
Oh, and
Oh.
don't worry about the animals too much. They won't get in our way.
It's just really weird seeing them like this.
Yeah,
It's-
druid magic, am I right?
It's not natural.
Yeah, you're right. It's not. Damn useful is what it is. These little
She kind of
bastards used to be infesting the place, acting like they owned it.
They were here first.
Yeah, and we're here now.
Lucian just shakes her head. Just because you're here doesn't mean that you get to, be the dominant species.
I don't see them complaining.
Have you talked to one of them lately?
Lucian, you're not going to convince them.
Let's do what
She
we're
shrugs.
here for, please.
She shrugs.
As you all follow the caravan into the village, indeed, massive Siberian bears and lurking wolves walk the streets alongside various halflings, dwarves, and gnomes. Many of them simply not even bothering to leash or collar them. Zephyr, you catch one gnome literally just basically stacking things on a bear's back and just telling it to follow him, and the bear just gives a grumble and does so. Many of the buildings are very small, meant to accommodate the small inhabitants of this place. Again, Zephyr, you are fairly comfortable, and you feel nice being the tall one for a change. But the rest of you feel like you're giants in... It's like that scene in Zootopia where Judy's going through the mouse place.
I'm just imagining what's going to happen in this town whenever the druids fix this problem and the animals go back to their base instincts.
Yep.
I mean,
I literally have it in my notes, prepare for potential apocalypse.
I was like, but we fixed the problem clearly.
Yeah, the animals are acting normal now.
I wonder if I can convince one of those wolves to come with me.
I could put you in touch with the guy. I'm sure he'd be willing to sell.
They're not his. They are animals.
I would really like it if there was no wolf on our team. Have you seen dogs?
This is
Just
dog.
because you are a cat person doesn't mean you can't be a dog person too.
Clearly.
How about this? If the lady doesn't like dogs, that's fine. There's bears.
She strokes her chin.
I want
Bears
some
are
more
not terrible.
intelligence.
Bears are not terrible.
You make your way through the town, and you notice quite a few people actually throw greetings at the dwarvish mercenaries, and a few of them give you all strange looks, but otherwise do not harass you. Dwarves are a somewhat insular and introverted lot, so you, at least when it comes to outsiders, so you don't expect them to give you too much trouble. And you make it across the, by your perspective, tiny village relatively quickly. At this point, the sun is beginning to reach its, high point, and you're at the base of the bridge latticework. Alright. I let the warden know to expect us. He probably passed word to the guy who owns the joint, but we kept our end of the bargain. We didn't tell the quack a thing.
Ability of her
Nice.
still knowing that we're coming is pretty big.
Either way, let's get our business done and then we'll go find her.
Alright. Oh, word of advice. Don't look down.
Oh, I'm used to heights.
I mean, you've seen me fly, right?
I don't really pay you that much attention.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't pay too much attention to you either.
Well, looks like
Remember
we've
that
come to an
airship you
understanding.
heard about?
Oh yeah, I guess that's fair. He kind of scratches the side of his face.
A lot higher.
Well, then you shouldn't have any problem. Caravan stays here. Scout, watch it, and if I come back and find you asleep, I won't. He kind of squints. But,
I can leave Mishka with you if it makes you feel better.
oh yeah, I love cats.
Alright. I'll
Careful.
just summon
It
Mishka.
might put him to sleep.
I'll just give him Mishka and have Mishka, like, sit around his shoulders. Meow.
He leans back and you can already see his eyes beginning to drift.
I'll just instruct Misha to just keep watch.
Alright, come on, y'all. It's a long way up.
Yeah, I'll instruct Misha to keep watch and just kind of bat at him when something is coming.
You begin making your way up the lattice work. Caleb, after only like 3 bridges, you're already pretty high up in the air. You're pretty confident, even the slightest misstep. Not to mention, these bridges are unsettlingly narrow, only 5 feet across in any direction. And while many of them are solid stone foundation carved out of archways carved out of the mountain itself, many places where the dwarves just weren't confident that the mountain was structurally sound enough to allow that, it's just simple wooden bridges, which does not help the feeling that especially with your musculature, you begin to worry as the bridge creaks and sways if it'll even be able to sustain you.
Fuck that. I'm getting on my broom. Fuck that.
Don't worry if it
Lucian's like,
breaks,
nope.
just catch as many as I can.
The dwarf chuckles a bit as he sees Lucian panic and hop on her broom. Yeah, this is why we don't get a lot of runaways.
Oh, that and mountain.
Yeah, but column A, column B.
I mean, Caleb's pretty used to being high up on even smaller platforms than this.
Oh yeah, true. Just that's why I said more. Just you take note of how big the fall is.
If you do fall, you're probably dead.
You all make your way, and finally, after several tense minutes of scaling,
Not Lucian, she's just like, doo-doo, 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 doo-doo.
you make your way to the top.
I'm gonna go get food real quick while you do all the introduction, okay?
Good. As you reach the top, there doesn't initially appear to be anyone here. At least outside of a few. Zephyr, you see a pair of armored dwarves, guards from the looks of it. Although you don't recognize the uniform. They wield crossbows. Although, Zephyr, you're an observant guy. You notice that their crossbow bolts are blunted. They level their crossbows as you all approach, although they do visibly relax as the dwarvish captain steps forward. Relax, it's us. We're here to see the boss. Tell the warden, he knows to expect us. We brought guests. One of the guards looks to the side, like kind of looks over all of you. Not often you let your cargo go so well heeled. This ain't cargo. This is business. You come to the prison and you don't bring anything? Sorry, but I don't see a winter solstice. We don't give you shit for free. Fetch the warden. The other nods and heading further into the cave. In your ears, you're able to hear echoing up from the dark. This
Cutting out a lot.
Cutting out really
I'm
bad.
sorry, I'm trying. I can't really.
But letting you know.
No, thank you. I just wish my internet was better. I always either have shitty internet or shitty computer.
Or both.
Yeah, or both. Caleb and What's-is straining your ears. You're able to see, listening as the guard heads deeper into the tunnel. You can't see anything, although you all can smell this kind of brimstone-y, methane-esque smell in the air. And you hear the kind of distant the sound of various clanking and clinking machinery. Lucian, you hear this like high pitch of whining metal. It's like you're hearing the echoes of a factory from deeper in the mountain.
Huh. Can I look around and like see if like is there a factory in the mountain?
Roll perception.
Okay.
I did tell you, Lucian.
Ooh, I rolled really good. Let's see what my plus is. Perception plus 8, so it was a natural 17, so plus 8.
25.
Thank you. Lucian, you can't really see much in the darkness, but as you listen, while you're not intimately familiar with the sounds of machinery, you at least have a basic understanding of them from surgical tools, and you pretty sure you know the sound of a drill and a saw when you hear them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So you're definitely hearing machinery. You're just not exactly sure what purpose it's serving or who's operating it.
Okay, so like I can't pinpoint where it is or how it's being used.
Yeah, you're at the entrance and the dwarf just disappears into the darkness down
Okay.
the mountain.
Okay. I'll just kind of land and well.
Let's
Yeah,
hope our
she just
business goes smoothly.
You all notice already the dwarves are beginning to kind of group off in a chunk away from all of you.
yeah, I start muttering a prayer to Shiva.
You suddenly feel very exposed and isolated as the dwarves kind of quietly abandon you to the guards. And the guard scrutinizes all of you heavily. Before, after about 15-20 minutes, you begin to hear the heavy dwarvish footfalls as people begin to approach.
How many do I hear? If
You
I had,
hear
if I could guess.
You hear 3 coming. Although, roll perception if you want to be certain.
I do want to be certain. I want to make sure we're not getting ambushed again.
Roll perception.
19.
Yeah, you hear 3.
Okay.
Ascending from the darkness, you see the guard.
I'm back. What did I miss?
Lucian was able to hear, as well as you and What's-is, that there's machinery like saws and drills going on in the mountain, but you can't see anything yet because the dwarves haven't let you in. You're just about to be introduced to the warden, who is just coming out after about a 15-minute wait. The dwarves have basically abandoned you. They're kind of grouping up off to the side so that if shit goes south, they're not in the crossfire.
Gotcha.
They're smart.
Ascending from the darkness, Caleb, I mean, this goes for all of you, but more just giving individual players attention. Caleb, you see ascending from the darkness alongside the guard, 2 dwarves. One of whom looks a little wizened and elderly. You can see his hair and beard are completely stark white, and you notice several patches in his hair and beard where there's scar tissue that can't grow hair anymore. His eyes are dark and beady, and his nose somewhat bulbous, and he scrutinizes all of you with a kind of strange look. It doesn't seem as openly hostile as the other dwarves, but more this kind of trying to ascertain what it is you want. Your attention? What?
Oh, I was gonna say, do I recognize this dwarf?
Roll
That
history.
maybe my dad had dealt with him before.
Roll history.
Can I do that as well?
21.
Roll history.
I had a
Natural
21.
20. Natural 20. So 28.
What were they rolling for?
to see if they recognize the first guy that steps out.
Okay.
He's not familiar to you, although Lucian, you recognize this man from pictures and history books you've read. This is Toyne Fonford, the owner of not only Myberstrom Prison, but the land around the mountain. Very wealthy man, a very wealthy dwarvish merchant.
That's our guy.
The other one that steps out takes your attention a bit more. You see a dwarf with dark black hair, the hair tied back in a bun, and the beard kind of split via braiding to reveal his mouth a bit clearer than the other dwarf. What more gets your attention, though, is several prominent medals on his uniform. He's seen combat, definitely a soldier. The white-haired dwarf is the first to speak. I am told you are interested in doing business with the Agesians.
We are.
Possibly.
Indeed.
He stares at you all for a moment. He looks to the dwarvish mercenaries, who kind of give him just a small jerk of the head nod. He looks back to you before his face breaks out into a smile. Well then, welcome. I'm Toyne Fonford, owner of the land and Myberstrom.
Oh, I know who you are.
Oh, always a pleasure to... He kind of pauses and stares at you. You look familiar. Have we done business in the past?
Have I done? Has my father possibly?
No.
She kind of like tries to go through her memory, but shakes her head. Maybe you knew my mother.
Well, I'm sure I'd recognize. Hearing you talk, the difference is obvious now. You know, it is all elves look alike.
Oh, my brother. You've seen my brother.
Oh, you have family. Well, then all the more reason for us to get along. This here is my warden, Tikur Nogard.
Can I add for just a second, the thought fucking just registers to her? Just like, she's just like, oh, you...
Yeah, and they're just like... And, Tiker, at being addressed, kind of shifts aggressively, and you notice he's looking straight at you as he says this. Colonel Nogard. Yes, yes.
So it would seem.
He puffs out his chest to more prominently display his medals.
And just rolls around.
So, so what sort of business is it you're looking to conduct? The classic team said that you were interested in the trade of exchange of prisoners.
Yes.
That would be correct.
Have some people that we would like to extract.
He nods and snaps his fingers at one of the guards, who hands him a clipboard. Now, is this a political exchange or independent?
This would be independence.
Yeah.
None of our countries know that we're here, and if they do know, it doesn't concern them.
He gives you a grin and a wink.
Clearly a
and takes few
business
notes.
transaction.
That's exactly what I like to hear. And, may I ask? Well, I suppose asking you for your names is a bit redundant at this point, is it not?
Yeah.
Love to tell
Anyway.
you, really.
Now, let's see here. Now, will you be exchanging for treasure, or will you be exchanging for lives?
I believe we mostly have treasure more than lives at the moment.
That's perfectly all right. Frankly, I'm getting rather tired of dealing in lives. So much less profit in it.
Money
After
goes a
all-
long way.
That it does, my lad. That it does. So, who is it exactly that you're looking to extract?
Fucking, you were gonna say that. I've been searching my fucking notes and I can't find his fucking name.
I guess we'll start with the person I'm looking for.
So I have to roll a history check, Matthew, because I
It's
can't
not
find
in
the
your
note.
notes. If it's not
It
in your
is in my
notes-
notes, I just can't find it.
One
Yes.
is a grung man. Has a scar
I
on
don't
his
think
face.
I don't think he's a grunt. Is he a grunt?
Yeah, he was like Karo. If I remember correctly.
That doesn't sound right.
I think he just was in Carol's party. But
Yeah, I think he was just in Carol's party. I don't think he was a grung himself.
Can I roll a
I'm
history
looking.
check as
I'm
well?
looking through my notes. Don't
Roll history.
worry.
but sounds like Caleb. While you do that, Caleb's gonna.
Yeah, he looks to
gonna
you, Caleb, as the party starts to argue amongst themselves. And who is it you're looking for, Mr. He checks his notes. Caleb.
I have reason to believe that you may have someone under the name of Bernard Lev here.
I got a 23.
He kind of pauses a little bit and starts checking through his list. Bernard Lev.
It was a Tibetan.
He kind of glances to the warden and eventually kind of shakes his head at you. I'm afraid we don't have any prisoner under that name.
Caleb, do you think that he's maybe under a different name?
Could Caleb think of a different name he would have used?
Roll. No, actually, I'll give you this one for free. You would recall that he and your mother went under the shared nickname, or rather went under a shared nickname. He went by Black Bear, and she went by White Bear.
Maybe you have his. Maybe you have his. Hang on, I'm trying to think. Maybe you have his nickname. He was known as Black Bear.
Black Bear. And he kind of clicks his tongue as he checks through the list again. And Lucian, you are able to recall that the party member you're searching for that Carol wants to reunite with is Rahutai Kino. He is human.
Yeah.
I did get a natural 20.
You would know this as well.
Yeah. I can't pronounce the name, so I'll just repeat that. I can't fucking pronounce it. I'm sorry.
He kind of gives a chuckle as Lucian botches the pronunciation and Rahutai Kino. Let's see here.
The foreign names. I'm sorry.
He kind
My
of
English is not so good.
He kind of pauses, and you see him glance to the warden again before. We do have him, but he's currently in the sick bay.
We can take care of that. We'll take him regardless.
Whatever he has, I can heal him. Unless.
Caleb, insight them on like what
Yeah,
they
can
said.
Yeah. So I'll just say.
I like how I
unless,
say
and
it,
then-
so suddenly Lucian's like, "Oh, I'm gonna insight."
Both of you roll insight.
Yeah.
I'm inciting for both what he told Caleb and what.
And what they're saying to Lucian.
Ooh, man, I am rolling so good tonight. Thank God. Insight +4, so.
What's your natural number?
16, so it's a dirty 20.
Alright, Caleb,
Yeah, I'm gonna use one lucky point because I
by all
need
means.
because I rolled kind of low.
No worries.
Alright, 19 on the second roll. First roll would have been an 11.
Lucian, Caleb, you are both confident they're lying. You can see he's glancing to the warden, and it's almost imperceptible, but he lightly shakes his head side to side, and the owner will look back to his list, kind of pretend to search for a little bit before being like, "Oh no, sorry."
Lucian will
If you're-
just kind of like look a little dark. Later is
Caleb is going to be
Ariel.
like, okay, it's gonna be, Do you think we could observe
I am a
some of the individuals to
Indeed,
check
I am a
for the people we're looking for?
He kind of glances to the warden and, I will need to speak with the administrator.
How long will this take?
Not long, just a moment.
Sorry, my
Um,
fucking Discord crapped out.
If y'all are worried about a certain knight or doctor y'all have, we'll take any repercussions that might have to get these people.
I'm also willing to talk with her myself.
I like how he's immediately threatening people.
No,
No,
I'm not.
We're not threatening. We're just saying that
He's more saying
they're
they'll deal
worried
with the
about
backlash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lucian will just add to that. I'm willing to talk to her.
Zephyr, your ears kind of twitch as you notice the glassy-eyed sniper of the mercenary group kind of snort to himself. Give me just a moment. And the owner turns on his heel and kind of trudges back into the darkness, disappearing from view, leaving you
I do
all with the
not
guards
like
and the
this.
warden.
Do you not threaten people, please?
I was not threatening. I was just saying that I'm willing to accept the repercussions.
And I'm just gonna note, Caleb puts his hand on the handle of his sword.
All right, noted. You can
Do
see
I?
the
I was gonna say, do I notice him doing that?
Caleb. Are you trying to hide it, or are you making sure it's on display so that people get?
He's just kind of doing it like idly, not like he's.
Yeah, he's not like ready to pull it out. It's more like doing that, resting it on the base or on the palm.
Yeah, like that.
So then I'm just gonna keep an eye on the what was it, warden?
Yeah,
Was-
yeah. This guy's the warden. He doesn't own the land. He just works the prison.
Yeah, I want to keep an eye on him since he seems to be the more combative one.
He kind of crosses his arms and stares at all of you. And you can see he kind of glances to the mercenaries and, do any of you speak Dwarvish?
I don't think so, but let me check.
No, Caleb can speak Common, Elvish, Orc, and Thieves can't.
What's his, can you?
But
Nope,
I can cast comprehend languages. So.
But would
Just
you know to do
Common
that
and
in
Elvish.
character?
They are.
Well, I was just going to say the dwarves begin conversing with each other in a language none of you speak.
Can I drop the eaves and comprehend languages?
Are you going to try and do this subtly?
Yeah, you cast a spell in front of all these dwarves.
You know what? I'll just say, I think it's important to understand if somebody, perhaps doesn't speak too much,
They stop talking, and the captain of the mercenary group looks to you and gives a smile. Nothing to worry about. We're just getting grilled for bringing people armed literally to the teeth.
I mean, you can't blame us.
We are dealing with people who would have tried to kidnap us not too long ago.
Not to mention, we're already in trouble as it is for even bringing you here. This is like 3 different defiance of orders wrapped up in one shitbag.
Well, you said as long as they got paid, they wouldn't really care.
He gives a shrug and, yeah, but doesn't mean we're not going to be raked over the coals about it. Better hope this is worth it.
Are we still kind of on like a narrow pathway?
At this point, you are at the mouth of the cave, which gives you a little bit more room, but yeah, if you back up like 15 feet, you're back on being in like, one misstep and you're dead town.
Well, you do have a able to say. Maybe you were talking about that, but how do we know you're not talking about your plan to turn on us? You have us backed into a corner between his guards and a long drop.
Exactly my point.
Whether we betray you or not is going to depend on the quack.
Well, that's or otherwise, you better not.
He gives a shrug and, better hope she doesn't make a better offer then. The
Lucian
dwarf-
looks like she wants to say something, but decides against it.
The dwarf returns, and in tow. I will say, Zephyr, you note, it took 20 minutes or so, like 15, 20, to fetch the warden and the owner, but the owner comes back in 5 with a new tiny figure in tow. A couple feet taller than the dwarves and has about a foot or so over you, Zeph. You all see a figure that you have not seen since the ball.
Lucian is like gripping her like wizard staff. She is ready.
You see a short and fat plague doctor. Her outfit is no longer the fashionable one that it had been at the ball. It is a starchy, kind of whitish yellow with basic glassy plasticine as a visor and a nozzle to act as a gas mask. It's a primitive hazmat suit more than it is the traditional plague doctor uniform.
And she's shorter than the dwarves?
No, she's slightly bigger. She's
Yeah, I
slightly
thought he
bigger
said.
than I am.
Yeah, I thought he said an even smaller figure.
No, I was saying another small figure, sorry.
Nice to see you again, Miss Dr. Knights.
She kind of tilts her head. Pleasure. She crosses her arms, and Lucy and you note that her gloves are covered in ink. They wish to do business with you, Doctor.
I'm sure you've expected us by now.
Yeah, your little friends there told me you were coming.
That's what I thought.
What? We like to hedge our bets.
It was
Either way.
either you or my brother that was going to tell her, so... it
Can we
was
make
going
a
to
deal or
happen either way.
not?
Yes, we can negotiate. Warden, show them to my workshop. Make sure they're not hurt. I don't want a single hair or scale on their heads hurt. Understand me? Otherwise, you're next on the operating table.
Lucian just gives a very visible shudder.
And
You're not going to try to trap us in a metal tube again.
thanks to that nonsense up out west with the airship, I'm afraid I'd be out of luck on transporting you. Suppose I could always use the railroad, but I'm sure you guys find a way to break that too.
Eh. You can't
Give
really blame
And
us.
my brother, I'm sure you understand the, capabilities.
She looks to the mercenaries who just kind of stare at her, and eventually the baklava-clad one steps forward and holds out an expectant hand. Dwarves. She rifles through the pockets of her suit before finally pulling free a coin purse and tossing it to the dwarf dismissively. Alright, now get the fuck away from my test subjects.
It's exactly what I banked on.
Well, if I can ask at least, how much did you trade us out for at least?
Beg pardon?
Well, how much did she pay you?
Oh, well, it's less about being paid here and more about, well, if you guys got here and she decided to just kill y'all, I would rather not be on her shit list. Smart man.
My shit list, so you have that to worry about.
I am not nearly as afraid of you as I am of her. Also smart.
Either way.
Well, you know what they say. Times change.
Exactly.
Let's hope so. Warden, didn't I give you orders? Get! Yes, ma'am. And he kind of growls under his breath as he stomps off into the dark.
They don't seem to like you too much.
I ain't doing this because I want people to like me. I got a job to do.
Yeah. I was just going to say she's not here to make friends. Am I correct, Doctor?
Yes.
Come on, follow me.
How many monsters have you created here?
Ah, in time, Caleb, in time.
Yeah, not where we're being listened to.
Just take it slow. I'm gonna try to like be behind Dr. Knight, and then I'm gonna turn to Caleb. Trust me.
The owner of the prison kind of nervously joins you in walking near Dr. Knight, Lucian, and Doctor, I think given that these experiments are being conducted on my grounds, I think I would have a right to know. Up. You got your money. You got what you asked for. Now give me what I'm asking for. Yeah, but the profits are not what they used to be, Doctor, and too bad.
Better be careful, she might sick one of her monsters on you.
Lucian gives a chuckle.
Yes, Doctor. You all follow into the darkness. I suppose it would be rude to do otherwise. Welcome to Myperstrom. I trust you'll keep everything you see here secret. We are technically supposed to be closed. And we are, yes, but, so much land and mineral wealth sitting here, it'd be a waste to not make use of it.
At
Oh,
this
yes,
point,
you
I
may
think
You asked
you
the
know
worst
where I...
person.
Yeah, well, one person at a time,
Sorry,
Lucian. Caleb?
sorry.
Yeah, I think you know where I'm from, so, we're supposed to be friends, right?
I prefer to use the term business associates. Less messy.
Fair enough.
Lucian?
Oh, I don't remember. It's fine.
Alright. You all make your way down into the darkness. You pass by the first signs of actual activity. Caleb, you notice your footsteps begin to go from the of stone to the of runoffy mud.
Is it me, or has the floor downgraded?
Yes, all the mining has begun to take its toll on Her Lady's Mountain, but we are ensuring that it does not have any long-term effects on the village below.
So correct me if I'm assuming that's correct. Like this entire mountain is hers.
Yes, she grants us her mineral wealth, and in exchange, we spend it. Otherwise, it would not be doing anyone any good, yes?
Lucian just kind of nods, but doesn't say anything.
You pass by a small stone building devoid of any personality. However, Caleb, you can distinctly smell a smell you had gotten used to traveling with Caro, which is why it strikes you as familiar. It smells like a stable, and you think you can make out the squawks of animals coming from within the building.
Oh no. Lucian just takes deep breath.
And eventually, the pathway begins to curve, looping around on itself. You are all plunged into darkness. And you see, lit
Cast
completely by artificial lantern light and nothing else, Myberstrom.
Can I cast light on Gil's arms?
Sure.
Also, Caleb was gonna ask, so, just out of curiosity, is Aegis actually part of the Concord, or are you just using them?
You can see Dr. Knight's kind of head tilt slightly ahead of you, as if she's debating, and before she can respond, the dwarf kind of cuts her off and waves his hand to you, seeming actually kind of put off by the question. And I assure you, our business with them is purely independent and transactional. I don't even care much about for the experiments. It's just, He gets money, he gets labor.
Lucian tilts her head. I don't recall us asking you.
Dr. Knight kind of tilts her head. You can't make out any facial expression beneath the mask. They're in it for themselves. The Federation themselves don't know. I don't think they'd care if they did.
Yeah, that's Gans.
It seems like the thing for the dwarves.
Looking over, your senses are overwhelmed by this thick smog, this freezing cold, unnatural, and with only the gleam of what's-his arms and the lantern lights of the buildings below, you can see this shanty town of various tin buildings, made out of nothing more than tin and wood, stacked all around each other in this tight neighborhood with soaking wet, muddy alleyways acting as the roadways between them. You see high towers with lantern lights that just give you the illumination of archers and crossbowmen stationed within. And Lucian, you can see those mechanical noises you were hearing were giant saw blades and drills that are carving away at the inside of the mountain. All of the rubble and dust falling down into the town below, which is, you presume, where the prisoners are unfortunately kept.
Are the prisoners out right now?
Yes, Caleb, looking down, you can see several people of all sorts of different species trawling around. Some of them just miserably trek through the muck. Others you can make out are carving away with pickaxes where the machines cannot fit.
Does Caleb see who he's come here for?
Roll perception.
Natural 20.
Caleb, you scan every face you can, and at the very least, you don't see any of the features you're looking for. However, your observation does grant you something that Lucian, wait for Caleb to tell you before you react to. You see, while indeed they are different species, and indeed they are mining, you realize they're not breathing. Their skin is pallid. They're undead.
Oh.
You do not see a living soul here outside of presumably the guards.
Lucian's not gonna like
I
that.
hope.
No.
I hope for the peaceful resolution of this situation. That some of the prisoners are still alive.
Lucian's very intense.
You like it? It's one of our newest innovations since the original closure. I realized that one of our biggest financial handicaps was having to feed and house the prisoners. So I realized if we just kill them and have an expert resurrect them, we get all of the profit with none of the expense.
Lucian she does that face palm like thing where she's like, oh my god.
Heather just
She
looks
like
at
takes
Dr.
a
Knight.
very deep.
Did you do this to all of them?
Only the ones that weren't useful.
Lucian doesn't really react other than her fist clenching on her staff.
Come on. My warehouse is just down the way. You make your way down. Ever the militarist, you look around and notice that not just archers and crossbowmen, there are ballistas positioned in many of the towers.
Why
Makes
is
sense.
Zephyr rolling stealth?
Not important.
No.
As you all make your way down, Lucian, you begin to see it yourself, and Caleb, you get a closer look. All of the prisoners you see are indeed undead. Their eyes unfocused, their skin rotting, the smell heinous. You believe this may explain the methane. They just mindlessly carve at the rock, depositing anything useful they find into mine carts, which then travel through the town on isolated and dilapidated railways to wherever it is they're intending to send it. The air is foul and choking, not to mention freezing cold.
Do I recognize the cold?
Roll Arcana.
Like, is it blizzard cold or?
It is not blizzard cold. It's just like that kind of ambient, like winter chill.
17.
You are familiar that a lot of the Underdark tends to be very cold, just because cold tends to be preserved pretty well underground. And you know that Myristrom is often associated with a particularly thick layer of permafrost. From the stories you've even heard that there are instances of it snowing inside the mountain because of how cold it is.
Where does the moisture come
Fair.
from?
Permafrost. And indeed, Watts is looking upwards. You can see a layer of ice clinging to the ceiling.
That's to preserve the bodies. Matthew?
Probably.
Okay.
Why don't you ask?
You know that I have so many fucking questions right now.
Well, perfect
I'm
time
trying
to
to
ask.
organize them in my brain. Okay, so, Lucian just will be, like, walking by. Like, her grip is, like, tighter and tighter. I like your method. At least you're preserving them.
Your brother's already raking me over the coals per body as it is. The last thing I need is to order refreshings.
Do I even want to know what kind of deals you guys make?
He gives a bit of a shrug, and he's a businessman.
Since when?
Since now. Mr. Fawnford, you are dismissed. I can escort them to the warehouse from here. As you wish, Doctor. He looks very hesitant to leave, but eventually relents and heads off into the town. You can see he occasionally stops and corrects a zombie's posture before continuing on. You still see no sign of the warden since he initially left. This way. Dr. Knight leads you all down the main road, your footsteps leaving wet, muddy boot prints behind. Dr. Knight does not speak, her gaze firmly focused forward. She doesn't look at any of you. Eventually, Lucian, you see you are approaching a large building, larger and more refined, complete stone rather than wood and tin, that has the sigil of the Scar Concord carved into the stonework over the main doorway.
You can see Lucian's eyes fixed on it. It's stone, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll need to go through a decontamination process. It won't have any effects on you. Just making sure it doesn't, you know.
Lucian kind of looks a little bored. I understand. I know how to enter a workplace.
She approaches the large doorway, which, Caleb, you expect her to just throw open, like as if they were double doors, but instead she reaches down and pulls it upward. This kind of rolling tin doorway. And she ushers you all
Is it like
inside.
like one of those doors that was back at that lab in the underground place?
It's a less refined version of that. You can see the design is the same, it's just less refined.
You see, maybe like someone took inspiration from those.
Very possible.
No, ma'am. No.
Does anyone not step inside?
No.
Does Caleb
We're
say
here
anything
to do
off about
business,
it?
so-
Make a perception check.
I'm going in. Doesn't matter.
I got a. What's 9 plus 13? 22? Yeah, 22.
You can see a few hoses and pipes lining the side, and you do detect a kind of unnatural warmth that contrasts with the natural cold air of the prison outskirts. But beyond that, you do not see anything that strikes you as immediately odd. You imagine, again, you've done this dance before, it's just a primitive version of the decontamination you saw at the research lab.
Okay. Caleb will enter.
Okay. You all enter one by one. She shuts the door. And you hear a tinny, familiar voice pipe up. Beginning decontamination process.
Oh God.
Is it Kalum's voice?
Angry.
Yes.
She starts like this little snarl.
You are all doused in this warm, foul-smelling water. This hot, steamy air swirls around you. Dr. Knight is completely
She's just
unmoved.
fluffing her hair.
Decontamination complete.
Nobody fucking cares.
I have a feeling that the owner of that voice should be very unhappy to see
I want
us
to
after
stab
our
your-
last
Before you ask,
encounter.
Doctor, I want to stab your speakers.
Not a fan, I take it.
Let's just say I'm breaking up my brother with his boyfriend.
The next rolly door slides up, allowing you all free entry into the building.
Did y'all hear what Caleb said?
Yeah, she was about to respond to it. As she steps out of the decontamination chamber, she kind of gives a nod beneath the suit. Yeah, technically I'm supposed to be thinking the same, but I got bigger plans. And y'all are in just the right place at just the right time. She reaches up and begins to take her helmet off. Beneath the hazmat suit, you see, for a split second, you think it might be Tropu, before you realize it is just a Tengu like him. A mature-looking Tengu girl with a beak, and Caleb, you note with some amusement, hair that has been seemingly dyed an almost chemical green. But she still has that notable pudge to her form that is noticeable even beneath the suit. And she begins to step out of the hazmat suit and approach a nearby set of hooks to hang it on. Beneath the suit, you can see she's wearing tattered, leathery robes.
Are you one of those people who's afraid they're gonna get sick if they touch anything on the outside world?
What? No, I just... better safe than sorry, especially in my line of work. Y'all actually caught me in the middle of an experiment.
Yeah, that's what I kind of assumed by the way that you were dressed.
Don't worry, as long as we don't step into my office directly, you're in no danger from the experiments. She looks over everyone before her eyes narrow. You can see they're a gleaming goblin yellow. Where's Zephyr?
I turn around. Fuck!
Doing
It's-
what he does.
It's fine. It's fine. I've already got what I needed from him anyway.
God. I should have fucking known.
I mean, it is Zephyr. It is to be expected.
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants here. Frankly, he can rob these dwarves blind. Wait. Nurse! You hear a yelp, masculine sounding, from upstairs before running down a set of stairs across the main chamber from you. You see what appears to be elvish boy. You see his posture is somewhat hunched and awkward. He walks with a kind of noticeable, kind of unseemly gait to him. And his hair is long and dark black like What's-His is, except instead of being thrown back over the head and ears gracefully, they're instead just kind of left to freely hang, giving this image of a very kind of mopey looking elvish boy.
So he's like emo.
Yeah, basically, yeah, kind of emo-y looking elf guy. He is wearing the bottom half of a hazmat suit, so you cannot see his clothes, but he is not wearing the mask.
I automatically love him.
Yeah, Dinah, what do you need? Is there anyone else here? I mean, other than our kids. No one. Just us. Good. I need y'all's help. And I think I can help you out in return.
Well, I'm listening.
Come in. You ain't gonna see anything you don't already know.
You have my attention.
Caleb, stepping inside and looking around, you see that Dinah has taken you into the interior of the stone building owned by the Star Concord. You see, currently inside where you are is a large, wide open room with shelves of what appear to be various tools and weapons. However,
It's
not...
gonna be like eyeballs and brains, something.
Yeah, it's more like various equipment and medications.
Sure, it's very much decor that Lucine can appreciate.
Oh, yeah. You see that there are 2 hallways going further in, albeit in the same direction on the opposite side, and a set of stairs going up into the ceiling and out of sight, which is where the elvish boy had come down. Alright, forgive my manners. For those who don't already know, I'm Dr. Dinah Knight. This is my assistant, Norman Mopes.
Lucine just gives him a little glance. Oh, nice to meet you.
I thought it was just dwarfs who used emotions for names.
Norman kind of gives a humorless smirk. Is this a work conversation, Dinah? Something like that. Why don't you run up and clean up the lab? I've got business to conduct. Are they going to hurt you? I don't know. Just go. I can take care of myself.
If it brings you any peace, I at least want to hear what she has to say.
Fine. He starts turning on his heel and walking away, but he pauses and... But if any of you hurt her, I'll kill you myself. And with that, he makes his way up the stairs.
Yeah, like Lucine just kind of like, yeah, that's fair.
You got an admirer.
He's sweet on you, isn't he?
It's not like that. It's complicated.
It doesn't
She
look
waits.
complicated.
She waits until she hears a door shut upstairs before giving a sigh. Your infections are getting worse, aren't they?
Yep.
Lucine crosses her arms.
was worried this might happen. Y'all were my most stable accomplishments, but I didn't figure it out until the ball that there was a piece I was missing. Don't worry, I can fix it. I've already fixed up your little friend. I can fix the rest of you just the same. But I'm gonna need y'all to trust me. And
He gives a laugh. Really?
I know, it's...
After all of the lying and all of the shit that we've been through, you're asking us to trust you? Really? That is the funniest thing I've heard today.
I'm
See,
sorry.
this is kind of why we're here. You said you were going to listen to her and let her explain.
I mean, I didn't say that I was going to trust her.
I'm sorry, but frankly, you don't have a lot of options. There's nobody else who knows this like I do. And you've got months at best before this infection completely destroys your brain.
Well, there is one
Well,
other
It
person.
seems to me the best solution to avoid this and any future problems would be to get rid of the infection.
Lucian kind of sits down and crosses her legs. Alright, on one condition.
Anything.
I get to know everything.
Sure. I don't care what you know. You all have to believe me. I didn't intend for any of this to go as far as it did.
What happened?
Is it alright if I work while we talk? I think better with my hands busy.
Whatever brings you comfort.
Alright. What's his? Caleb? You two are just as bad off as she is. And I don't think she's gonna let me put a needle in her unless she sees me do it to one of you first.
I'll
I've
go
already-
first.
I've
What
already
are
done
you
it.
going to do?
Explain to me the process.
I can't agree to anything unless I know what you're going to do.
Alright. The Ichor was not made for mortal bodies. There's a catalyst that it's missing. I didn't figure it out until I had Zephyr on my operating table. I realized the missing piece. And I'll need a sample of his blood to be sure, but at least from the samples I already have, his blood is stable. I just need to do to you what I did to him. I need to
What did
fill
you-
you up with the piece you're missing.
Lucian puts up
What
a finger.
is
Wait a goddamn minute. You operated on Zephyr and he didn't fucking... Well, that shouldn't surprise us. When did this happen?
Back at the ball.
For God's sakes.
You should be lucky he did. If it wasn't for that, I would have no idea that what was happening. I thought y'all were stable. I thought I fixed it. See, I realized over the years that it's not just chemistry, it's alchemy. And
Can I bring out all my notes?
absolutely.
Like show her everything that I've like all like the conclusions and everything that I've been working on like the past year. Lucy wants to know how close she got.
She kind of skims the notes as she talks. See, once I figured that out, it started getting easier. I started getting closer. Subject Theta was the closest I ever got before you all. I realized that it's not just about your blood, it's not just about your bodies, it's about your souls, your minds. So, I started picking people based on that. A lot of my failed experiments, I thought it was something else. Maybe they had to be the same species to bond. Maybe they had to have the same blood type. But I realized it's nothing so base like that. It's... well, it's what's in here. And she pats at her heart.
You're sounding sentimental, Doctor.
I thought of much of the same until I realized, look, I know it's gonna sound childish, but I haven't exactly put a scientific word for it yet. The missing piece is love.
Lucian just kind of like looks like she's like trying to process that, but like something in her
What
brain is
exactly
just
do
not
you
connecting
mean?
it. Yeah, like could you elaborate on that?
Let me explain. She starts rummaging around for tools and begins grabbing syringes and scalpels.
Lucian like backs up visibly.
I realized it while I was operating on Zephyr. Before you arrived, Barber's told me that he sold you out, right? He gave you up in exchange for his family.
Right.
But if my procedure worked, has he actively betrayed any of you since then?
No.
Her gaze visibly relaxes. It worked. The catalyst was love. I needed to extract it. And now that I've isolated it, I can inject it into you. It stabilizes the ichor.
I'm just kind of stuck on how you extract love. Love is an emotion, and it's just based on neurons. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Emotions is just chemistry, doll. It's, well, both more complicated and less complicated than it looks.
So you're putting oxytocin in it?
It's a lot of things. Oxytocin, dopamine. I even put a little bit of chocolate in it.
Serotonin?
It's a mixture of things, but yes, that is a component piece. I realize the souls that I put within you, even if they're exactly alike, they still can't stand each other. That's why you're not stable. But if I put love into the mix, it stabilizes it. It makes the formula stable. It's the catalyst I was missing. If you just... I've done it to Zephyr, I can do it to you. It'll stabilize your blood, and... well, from the sounds of it, it stabilizes your brains, too. Makes you less confused, less panicked, less hostile. I've been trying to curb the aggression of the Ichor Beast for decades, and it wasn't until Zephyr was on my table that I finally figured out how to do it.
So
Please, I can prove it.
you're suggesting to me that all of these Ichor Beasts just need a little TLC?
I told you it wasn't exactly scientific, yet. Also, what did you call them?
Ichor Beasts.
Is that what you've been calling them?
What are they called?
In Costum Chameleonidae.
No, ours is totally better.
Well, it's
Yours is
easier
good for
to
a
pronounce.
textbook, not for actual use.
She kind of blushes a little bit at that, Caleb, and kind of kicks at the rocks a little bit.
But if it makes you feel better,
But-
that can be their scientific name.
Caleb was going to be like, this all sounds very interesting, but I do have one slight problem. I didn't come here to perfect Ichor in me. I want it gone, destroyed. Are you able to do that?
Without killing him.
Turning it back to before all this happened.
I don't know. I've never done it before. It's possible in theory, but I would need to test it. I have no idea what effects it would have on you.
That's what I've been trying to figure out. And we've met this guy, like this goat guy from space, who's like, I can totally do it, but like he wants stuff that I totally don't want to give him.
But he also said that you knew how to do it.
Yes, he did say that.
I can do it in theory. I don't know what would happen. It could completely destroy your brains, your souls. You could be lost.
So you mean... Just out of curiosity, I was wondering, when exactly was it that I was infected? I don't remember anything of it.
Let me check my notes.
I would be interested in this story as well, actually. Lizzie just kind of like going through her notes.
Don't touch anything. I have everything just the way I like it.
I'm sorry, you can't blame a girl.
All right, come up. Nurse Mopes has already gotten the office cleaned up by now, I reckon. I'll just tell him to wait down here. I don't... Never mind.
No. What were you going to say?
I just don't want him to see this, okay? It's secret.
So he's working for you, but he doesn't know what he's doing?
Nobody knows what they're doing. I didn't even know what I was doing until as of recent. Everything's spiraled out of my control. I didn't intend for it to go this far. It was just gonna be me. Just a few test subjects to make sure it worked, and then me. And then I was gonna stop. I was gonna destroy it. But she found me first.
The lady.
She said she would help me perfect it. Help me... She said she would help me. But we found more people. It went further and further. I lost control of it. She started giving it to people I never intended to have it.
Doctor, why is this so important to you?
She pauses as she nears the stairs. Have you ever looked in the mirror and realized that you can't stand what you see looking back?
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm hideous. I was born a monster. I can barely fly. I have to take supplements, and I'm green. I have to wear a suit so nobody knows. I'm just tiny.
Well, if we're being completely subjective, I think you're adorable, really.
I
But
don't
then-
want to be adorable!
I'm sorry, I can't help it. You're just so tiny and cute.
I need to be beautiful.
Who's to say that
So
cute
let me
isn't
get-
beautiful?
Let me understand this. Everything that has happened, the deaths of everybody in this room, and the revival of those monsters, the beast destroying an entire city, was all because you wanted a cosmetic change?
She looks guiltily down at the floor, and it was just supposed to be me. I didn't intend for anyone else to get involved. I was just gonna buy a few prisoners off of the dwarves and then figure out how to stabilize it. It took me years, decades. I kept coming closer and closer, but failing every time. But it was so tantalizing. And when she found me, by the time I realized I wanted to back out, it was too late. I've seen what she does to people who try to pull away.
Tell me about it.
Sometimes the most evil people in this world are the ones who give you everything you want. She's not evil. Not in a way that a dark wizard or a necromancer's evil.
Lizzie gives a wry chuckle.
She's evil like... She's
She
evil.
gives you what you want until you realize you don't want it.
She gives a nod. That was all I wanted. I figured out what it could do. I was gonna test it on a few people nobody would miss, figure out how to fix it, and then once I knew it worked, I would use it on myself.
Have you considered that it had to cost all of these lives to get it this far?
I did
Is
my
that-
research. The first people I picked, they weren't long for the world. I made sure it was nobody anyone would miss. The sick, the elderly. I never meant for children.
Lucian just kind of gives a frown.
But she won't let me leave. I'm the only one who knows how to make it, so she can't let me leave. But now that you're all here, and I know my theory works, I'll fix you. And in exchange... She looks to you, Lucian. I just want a sample from you. You're beautiful. you'll do perfectly.
Lucian looks a little taken back from that. So she like genuinely doesn't know what to say. And then she just kind of gives a little chuckle. I can only say that only a few people have ever really made me speechless.
It's true. You're tall. You have long hair. You're an elf. What's not to like?
I'm told I'm a little annoying.
Well, that's what the stabilizing catalyst is for. Doesn't matter what.
What exactly will it do? Will we still be who we are?
You'll still be who you are, but you'll feel better. You've probably felt it.
We're not going to become some mixture between the two souls.
What happens to the other soul?
Well, a mixture is what you already are, but the catalyst just puts the other soul at peace. I know it's not scientific, but think of it as me giving you juice that lets you love yourself.
Okay, I have a question.
I'm having a hard time believing that's possible.
What's your question, son?
So, we have been told that the lady can control us through this ichor. Do you know how to break that control?
I would need some time to test, but I have been able to make ones. Stable ones. That they're like you. They won't last long, but I'll need to test on your samples. Only then will I know for sure. I want to make sure that Zephyr's isn't an outlier. And she turns and kind of tilts her head as you all follow her gaze to a vial of blood sitting on one of the tables. She picks it up and looks it over. Just what I need. Now, removing this infection's risky, and I can't promise there won't be side effects, but I can promise that I can stabilize you. And I know what you're after. Like it or not, the effect this is having on you is beneficial. And with it stabilized, I can alter it if you'll allow me. I can make any changes you want. Hair color, eye color. Heck, I can even make your wounds cauterize so that the blood's not infectious anymore. As long as nobody drinks it, I suppose.
What kind of side effects?
If I remove it, assuming it doesn't kill you, this is all theory at best, but it could weaken you. Colonel Gioger, Apprentice Alefakir, Caleb the Assassin, those people are dead. You are something different. Something I made on a table. If I take this out of you, you're gonna go back to what you used to be. And what you used to be isn't always good. That's why I made it in the first place. This, and she gestures to the three of you, this is what it was meant to do. To make people better.
Caleb would really try to think about himself before.
Yeah, can I also do that? And I know the effects. I am very aware.
Roll history at disadvantage, and then I will ask for a second roll afterwards before giving you results.
History at
Yeah.
disadvantage?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is something I'm proficient in, so I can't
Okay.
roll lower than a 10 unless I roll a 1.
Well, I'm fucked.
Alright, it's gonna be a 17
Let's see.
on the history.
Okay. And Lucian?
I rolled a natural 3, so 11.
Okay. Now both of you also roll a wisdom save.
Yeah, I knew this was
Wisdom
coming.
save.
I knew this was coming. Please don't fuck me, dice.
I got a 15.
Okay.
It
Oh
was
my
flat,
God.
right?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I was rolling so good. And now I rolled a natural 2. I'm gonna cry.
Oh wait, it's a saving throw, not a check?
Yeah.
Yeah, saving.
Okay, so it'd be a 16 then.
Alright, still good.
I'm gonna cry.
What's the number, Amanda?
It was a natural 2.
But
So
what's
total?
your plus?
Hang on, I have to look.
Probably have good wisdom, so probably like at least a 10.
Yeah, 10.
Okay. What's his? Zephyr? You watch as the two
Zephyr's
of them
back?
you watch as the two of them think very hard about their past. Lucian's nose begins to bleed black. But Lucian, you're drawing a blank. You remember what you told the party, a past shared with your brother in a small fishing village, a lifetime of experiments at the hands of a mad scientist, and then a gap of 7 years before you found yourself on that train.
You can see her, like, visibly shaking and starting to cry a little.
Caleb, you do not suffer any injury. You just focus yourself, stay calm, and think. More at peace with your past than Lucian is. But, much like Lucian, you recall a life with your family that was cruelly taken away. You were shoved to nobility, pampered but not loved. And you remember your father sent you away to train. You remember going there. And then the next thing you know, it was time to go to the ball. A gap that you cannot ignore.
Can Caleb think of how he might have been different before that moment from how he is now?
By your recollection, as you think, in your childhood, you were someone who knew what was expected of you, is the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't think too much about the actual work you were expected to do. It was simply give things. And you didn't often hesitate, even in theory. Although you did not get the chance to prove yourself in the way your father wanted, you never knew yourself to be the kind of person who would draw back a blade once unsheathed. But looking back on yourself, you realize there's new things that you can't account for. An air of obsession. It's hard to detrack your thoughts once they start. What ordinarily would have been things that you would have not thought twice about suddenly became things that you couldn't move on until they were dealt with. Suddenly, a role you never wanted is one you desire and would happily compete with your family to achieve. Kill you ordinarily would have hesitated to make. People you knew, you didn't think twice before pulling the trigger, as if they were completely forgotten to you.
Would I have any of these memories?
You're too unstable. You can't.
Yeah.
There's just a gap, and you can't account for it.
Yeah, I just
Caleb
imagine
was just
like Lucian is like
if
visibly
anything.
shaking.
Sorry.
All right, go
It's
ahead.
okay.
Just
Basically-
yeah, Lucian's shaking.
It seems like Caleb has just generally gotten worse since this.
Yes.
What are you talking about better? I've been worse than I was before.
I know. I'm sorry.
Lucian looks up.
It's because of the catalyst. I know how to fix it now.
Who was it that you used for me?
You and Zephyr came to my operating table at the same time. So I used what I had on hand. They seemed similar enough, and at the time I thought that was what I needed. Your counterpart was Cypress Axmony, a merman, sharkfolk. Used to be in an adventuring party, barbarian. I figured, you're both killers, you both don't think too much. I thought that would be all you needed. I thought his bed off on you, but without the catalyst, they can't come to the forefront. 75% compatibility.
Was that high compared to the others?
Than what most are. Before I found all of you, I was happy to get a 60. And even then, it never worked.
So you said to the front. Is it going to be like, you know, those? I've heard stories of people who say they are like multiple.
Dissociative identity disorder. It's similar, but it's different. See, when I put Cypress's soul in you, according to the information I got, yeah, he was a brute who could kill when he wanted, but he was a sweet man. And he sounded like he was just like you. I thought maybe that would do the trick, and it did. You and your brother came out stable. You remembered who you were supposed to be. You acted right. It wasn't until years later that we started noticing the changes. And it wasn't until I had Zephyr in front of me that I realized how to fix it. I wanted to come to you, but I knew if I came to you, someone would know.
Well, I guess it's a good thing I had other business with you. Speaking of which, what did you do to my father? Did you turn him into one of those meat puppets?
No, no. Gods, no. Bernard, you said. Bernard Lev?
Yes.
I'll need to check my notes, but I promise you, he has never been on my table. He was a political prisoner. They said I could have him if I wanted him, but I didn't have any use for him. And I only recently started asking the questions of what would happen if I bonded family. That was Lucifer's suggestion. Of course, that hasn't been going anywhere.
How could you say that, though? How could you say that it would be better when I can't even fucking remember? You know, I'm starting to believe that you're right, like I'm a whole different thing. I'm sure the real Lucian would be completely fucking appalled at this.
You're wrong. It's sad I put in.
Sorry, you
You
cut out?
cut out.
Yep. No. It's the part of you I put in.
What are you talking about?
Crystal. She's talking about Crystal.
Yeah, what's the deal with that anyway? Because, like, that's not completely stable.
I know it's not now.
Wasn't there an incident when Lucien was infected?
What did he do? What happened?
I'll tell you everything. She pauses. Out of all of you, you were the second I operated on. I learned from my mistakes with the Colonel. I never intended for you to even be on my table. You had a hard life. I thought you would have been more at peace just where you were.
Lucy nods in agreement.
I'm going to
But
guess
your
her
brother-
brother said something about that.
That's right. Dr. Elefakir said that he would only acquiesce to the Lady in White if we could bring you back. She never consulted me on it. She just said, Dr. Knight can handle it. She knows what she's doing. You have any idea how hard it is to find someone who matches with you? Stubborn asshole! 71% compatibility. But sometimes it'd be 90%. The blood vessels would change right before my eyes beneath the microscope. But it was the best I could get. And Lucifer was gonna kill me if I said no. So I did what I had to. And he lost a fucking eye to prove it. You escaped. You waged war on the whole damn city. You were panicking. The souls were lashing out, fighting with each other. It took the entire army to bring you down and chase you off into the forest. And I lost you. I spent years looking for you, but I couldn't find you. And I had work to do. They wouldn't allow me to search for much longer than I did.
Why didn't you say something when you saw me?
You think
I mean,
I
yeah,
wanted
he
to be
was.
there?
I mean, yeah, he was right there, but said something.
I wanted to. But what choice did I have? They would have killed him if I helped you.
Lucy?
She grips her sleeves and sniffles a little bit. My assistant.
You do love him.
Of course I do. Look at him. He's beautiful and sweet. He deserves better than this. And she gestures to herself.
Have
Oh,
you
come
ever
on.
have you ever
Like,
considered? She puts a hand up to Waz's. Have you ever considered that maybe he likes you exactly how you are?
Look at me.
I am
Go ahead.
listening.
What were you saying, son?
Oh, I speak guy. He likes you. Who else would threaten us if we even laid a finger on you? If he didn't have feelings for you.
It's true.
She certainly would have tried.
Yeah, it would have been really cute.
And tragic.
Eh,
Don't threaten him.
Oh no, I wouldn't. We would never actually hurt him.
It's looking like we're moving away from any kind of that for now.
I don't want to hurt you. Half of
I
us
don't-
don't want to.
I don't want to hurt you.
I think of you all like family. Your original selves died years ago, but I brought you back. You're my flesh and blood.
I do have a couple more questions, and then I will allow you to operate on me
Okay.
because I want to stay the way I am, but I want to be able to not be quite so detrimental. But you said you messed up with me. How?
That was when I figured out that personality compatibility was what mattered. Cillian Holmes, doppelganger, rogue. I thought, well, I realized later that it was just a happy accident. 5% compatibility, 91% on a good day. Some of the highest I'd ever seen. Still some of the highest I've ever seen. Right up there with Zephyr, you're the closest I think I ever came to getting it perfect. But I didn't know what I was looking for. I had everything lined up right, but it was a happy accident that you came out as well as you did. If it wasn't for the lady in white, you wouldn't be here at all. Not for lack of trying. I just don't think Kaloum would have let me. He
It what?
said,
Never mind. Keep going.
Yeah,
Who wanted him back?
my
General.
dad.
Yet he seems to want nothing to do with you now.
Yeah, like, that doesn't make sense.
he favors
Disobedient
Kaloum's
soldier.
research over mine.
Yeah, that
Oh.
stands.
But you're all right. Like I said, it changed
No.
you. You're not loyal anymore.
Yeah, it's true. I actually get to think for myself a little bit more. But that does bring up my last question. That's not actually Kaloum. So who is it?
What?
Who is he and what does he want?
Kaloum
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
fake guy.
and
That's not
Barry.
No,
That
I'm
is so-
hearing you. What do you mean
Somebody
it's
else
not?
impersonating him.
Jeremy, you're breaking up, honey.
Yeah,
No, don't worry, I'm getting the gist. It's just she doesn't seem to know what you're talking about.
Lucian just kind of froze her eyebrows. You know that's not the real Kaloum, right?
It's not? He never came
No.
onto my operating table. I never got the chance to check. I just assumed he faked death.
No, the real Kaloum is buried. This guy, we don't know what his deal is.
Well, whatever his deal is,
We know is that he's got a big grudge against Gyoger.
and he's not going to stop until your whole family burns. I know.
Yeah, pretty. I have
And
some
I'm-
theories.
And I'm dead again.
Yeah, he specifically has a grudge against Big Beef Man.
He told me that he would not allow me to bring Gyo to life. But the lady intervened. That both of us would get a chance to prove what we could do. And the general could decide. I made you. He made her. And your father made his choice. I suppose a machine's easier to
He
control
made
than a flesh
her.
and blood child.
What do you mean he made her?
About, I reckon, 11, 12 years ago now. Both Gyoga children died in a weapons test gone wrong. Your father brought
Can I
both of
remember
you.
this?
Roll history at disadvantage and make a wisdom save. Give me them both separately.
What were they gonna say in the meantime?
Oh yeah, while he's rolling. Your father brought both of you, bleeding and dead, to the lady in white. Said he'd heard the stories of what she could do. and that he wanted his family back, and he would do anything. Kaloum told him that he could kiss his ass, but the lady in white said that I would be allowed to try. But what I turned you into, your father got cold feet. Said that he wanted an alternative. Kaloum said that he'd be happy to provide, despite their grievances. So we fixed her.
That's a trap.
No kidding. That poor girl.
So he made a machine instead.
He told us as soon as he joined us that he had no interest in my experiments. He didn't care about changing people into something else, that he didn't care about fixing people. He just wanted revenge. But we were the best way to get it. Lady in White said that as someone who gives everyone what they want, she would acquiesce. As long as it did it in the way of the rest of us. What choice did I have? You're my king. I can't speak for the general. I can't save everyone. I can't even save myself.
Also,
What's his... Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt something there. I didn't realize you were going to keep going.
I was just... What's his history and wisdom?
17 for the history, and 22 for the wisdom.
Alright. 91% compatibility. You remember standing before a crowd. You remember your father and Dr. Kaloum showing the soldiers a weapon. Totally one that could wipe out entire platoons with one stroke. Kaloum pulled the trigger. Last thing you can remember. It was just supposed to be a demonstration. It wasn't even aimed at you. I did what I could to protect you, but Kaloum's fury burns. Before he told me he was an imposter, I really believed that man defied death itself just out of spite.
Well, if he burns us, we'll burn him back.
By the way, were we continuing to walk during all this?
She paused because, as she mentioned, she does not want Norman knowing any of this. Although, if the conversation breaks, she will continue to escort you all to her office.
Yes.
Alright, Caleb will say, I believe you had more in your office.
Yeah, I got the tools I need, and a sample.
Is there a way to save my sister?
She pauses at the door to her office. She knocks, and the elvish boy opens the door. You alright, Dinah? Yeah, we just need some paperwork. My son wants notes. Wants to know when he was born. Mind cleaning up downstairs? I think we got one of my other ones skulking about. Should I get the zapper? No. He'll come when you call him.
I don't remember him being a dog.
He kind of smiles to Dinah and puts a hand on her head. You okay? You look upset. I'm fine. Just go dust something. Make yourself useful. And she pats him awkwardly on the leg as he walks by. Come on, in here. Now, as for her...
And I make sure that he's completely gone before she says, I should have smacked him on the butt.
What? You could see a furious blush overtake her face and just, no! She slams the door and it hisses shut. Absolutely not. Are you insane? He'd probably think I was attacking him.
I
What
didn't
is your
say
real
punch
picture?
hit it. I said love tap it.
No, it's not that. It's just, I mean, wings or not, I'm still a goblin.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
doesn't seem to mind.
He doesn't mind because I pay him well.
I mean, one of our best friends is a goblin, so he is
Anyway,
still really mad about that situation.
she kind of shakes her head to clear it and her color returns. Anyway, as for your sister, I'm a lot of things, honey, but I'm not a mechanic. I don't know what Kaloum did to her exactly. He never told me. All he said was that he gave her a few additions that would help him out. The lady in white was happy, so told me not to press the matter. Whatever he did to her, it's beyond me. Beyond any of us, honestly.
And
I reckon the only one who
you
understands it is him.
shit. I look to What's-His. I think we have somewhere else to go, don't we?
You have a long list of places to go. I believe you'll still have business with barbers, even.
Don't get me started on that guy.
Alright, what's his? Honey, you first.
Yes, and he'll lay down on the operating table so she can do
Lizzie
it.
is just gonna like
And Caleb
scramble
try
to
to
get
find
her
the notes that
notebook.
say when he got infected.
Roll investigation.
I'll note that Lucian is like gathering all her notes and just like observing.
Oh dear.
Walk me through it.
That's a 1 on investigation.
Oh,
Caleb, you start to walk towards a filing cabinet, but you feel her hand on your arm, and she looks up at you. Her expression has no hostility. It's just this... The best thing you can think of is it reminds you of whenever your mom would look at you when you were getting into trouble. Not angry, more just like, you
like
scamp.
yeah, like oh you scamp.
I promise, honey, I'm not keeping anything from you. I'll find the notes while your friend's going under, okay? I promise.
And I hope you could tell me where my father is too. It's the reason I came out here. That and I thought you could fix this situation. But I guess
can do
if
better
you
than fix it.
stabilize, I guess if you stabilize it, then we could see how it goes, and if nothing else, we'll have plenty of time to figure out how to really fix it if necessary.
I have a final question for you before we proceed.
She sits, what's-his down on a dentist-type chair and leans him back. Yeah?
So explain to me. I understand that this is a catalyst. I understand that. Of course I do. But what I don't understand is why you think that this is the only missing piece. What happens when you discover more, and we begin to decompose some more?
When I looked at Zephyr's blood back at the ball, I realized 99%. I was just missing one thing. Getting the sample from him helped me figure that out. I know this'll work. If Norman can find him, I can even take more of his blood to prove it. If he's 100% compatible, that means it's completely stable. It won't degrade.
If nothing else, it will at the very least apparently buy us more time.
That much I can promise you.
But it would be educational. I'm in.
All right.
So just to
I
be
wish
on the
see
safe
what effects
side.
it has, 'cause, again, I want to stay who I am,
I won't
Even
change a
if it-
thing, baby.
even if it is a mixture. One that so far has been worse for wear.
I won't change a thing you don't want me to. I promise. Caleb
And then,
taking
Sorry. I was just gonna say, just to be on the safe side, What's is going to detach its arms just in case if something does go wrong and he mutates.
Fair call. She swallows, and Caleb taking a look around, you see that true to her word, the office is definitely the definition of organized chaos. You see the chair that What's now sits in the middle with a operating stand of tools off to the side, which Knight is now depositing syringes and scalpels into. Various file cabinets that are full to bursting from the looks of it, although she seems to have an idea where everything is. And a few chairs off to the side for observers. You can see there are windows in all directions that overlook the prison.
Honestly, there are far better views you could have had.
This wasn't my first choice. Actually, I only came here because I knew y'all were coming. My real castle's up north. That's where all my real good shit's at. Sorry, pardon my language. It's been a hard day.
No, that's fine. You know, Mia's interested.
Though, if this works the way you think, if you want to get away from the Lady in White, I will offer you whatever protection I can for you and Mr.
Emo
Gloomy
guy.
out there.
Yes.
I don't care what happens to me, just make sure he's safe.
Lucian smiles.
Both
You're
of
not
you.
what I thought you were, but I'm willing to help you.
Besides, Kyogre's going to need a new person to help with experiments once I get in control.
So, could you clarify one more thing for me?
Sure thing, sweetie. What you need?
Why are you considered an Oathbreaker? What did you do?
She pauses. She doesn't initially answer you, but she looks down to you, as she lowers the chair to her level to operate on you comfortably. Now, this isn't gonna hurt, sweetheart, but it might feel a little funny in your head. You want me to knock you out for this?
Whichever one makes you more comfortable.
She looks to all of you, and I'll leave him thinking.
That would be preferable. I think that this would be much more interesting for me. Sorry.
Just so you know, if
She looks down at Watson. Sorry.
Go on, sweetie.
I will say, if this is all just an elaborate ploy and you're about to continue your trend of oath breaking, I would advise against that.
Before we go threatening people, Caleb, let's hear her out.
I'm just giving fair warning. If this is an elaborate ploy, it's a very convincing one.
Yeah, I have to admit, I trust her.
All right, sweetheart. First, I'm going to take a sample just to make sure the results are what I'm expecting. And she jabs a syringe into your chest with your arms detached and begins to draw out unremarkable looking blood. She takes it over to some of her equipment scattered on a desk near a window and begins to speak. As for why I'm an Oathbreaker, well, I heard you met Tropu. That right?
Our boy gave him a nice hole in the head.
Yeah. He and I were, and she kind of flitters her wings, cut from the same cloth.
I see.
And she looks over the blood quietly, kind of getting her thoughts in order. I used to mine for my clan. I was the first one who figured out gunpowder. Not the first in Yav, to be sure, but the first greenskin. I was so proud of myself. That's when I knew I wanted to be into science at the very least. But while I was studying it and gathering samples, our colony used to deal with the Debadrins once or twice, as well as the Agesians. This Underdark Railway and I managed to get my hands on a little bit of what's in Zephyr. They just said it was a disease and not to touch it, but when I saw what it could do, I had to believe there was something more to it. My family was, well, we're greenskins. We breed like rabbits. There was too many of us. We were struggling to eat. We had plenty of money. People feared us. Even the adventurers had trouble touching us, but there was too many mouths and not enough food. Just when I started to think this was it was never going to get better, a plague came. Most of us died. Tropu and I were some of the only survivors. But we're no strangers to losing everyone. We prospered. All the food that we were hurting for before, we had so much more now. Once I was an adult, I decided it was time to leave. I had to find the person who saved me and thank him. And that's when I found him. And he taught me more. What was once mysteries wrapped up in this ichor, he cracked it open like an egg, showed me everything there was to know, what it could do. And that's where I met him. The plague doctor.
As in
Wait.
the plague doctor?
Lucian, like, scans through her notes. That actually makes sense with one of my theories.
The very same, hun. That's where I met my assistant. We worked together. He taught me everything I wanted to know about this. And said that I was free to study it in my free time.
What did he get in return?
I worship him.
Yet apparently you had to go to some lady in white to figure out the truth about it.
The plague doctor can do a lot of things. He can feed the hungry and clothe the poor. But even he can't make me into something I'm not. He said, if I wanted to be beautiful, I had to find someone else. But as long as I did his will, he would not stop me. Norman came with me, guessing he figured there was more money to be had with me than with the doctor. I came here, ground zero, where I first found it, to learn more. I did some mercenary work in Perugia for a while just to build up the finances. Norman and I, we traveled, but I always kept coming back here. I knew there was something more to this disease. She pulls one of the syringes she had grabbed and opens up a file cabinet and pulls free a brilliant pink liquid that has this almost like Neapolitan-esque color to it. A little bit of brown, little bit of white, little bit of pink. And she begins to draw out this formula into a syringe.
Tell me what is in those.
Like I said, it's a mixture of things. Some chocolate, serotonin, all the happy juice that makes the brain do the good stuff.
I see.
Basically, you were able to condense love into a chemical formula.
All emotions are just chemicals, honey.
That's fascinating.
All right,
I'm
sweetie.
going to say this, though. That boy wouldn't have followed you like that if he didn't actually care about you.
Oh,
Now, let's do this.
Before you get to change, you're stupid. She gives a smile.
Yes,
Not for long,
maybe
is it?
if he's stabilized the other half will be
No, I just wanted to say it for one more time. I was only joking. You know.
All right. Now, according to my calculations, you're at an average 87% compatibility. This should give you what you're missing. Now, this is gonna look bad, but it's not gonna hurt, okay?
Well, thank you for the warning.
As I said, I trust you. Let's do this.
She begins to lower the syringe towards one of your eyes.
Does it have to go in the eye?
It's the
Straight
quickest
to
route
the
to the brain,
brain.
honey.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, he won't feel a thing. There's no pain receptors where I'm going.
That's interesting.
Now, if I'm right, and I think I'm right, I'll need a sample of Zephyr's blood to be sure. This should boost your intelligence and increase your patience. As well, it might even temper your greedy impulses and your violence, without disrupting your independent thought and lack of obedience. I'm not making a soldier. I'm birthing a child. She lowers the syringe inside.
Well, the idea is that it's supposed to be the best of the two souls.
Yeah. All she wanted to achieve with this formula was just turn herself into something else, but she had to stabilize the personality affecting aspect of the substance before she could use it on herself as a guinea pig. And from what she says, the lady in white found her while she was mid-experiment and essentially intimidated her into service, turning what was supposed to be a medicine into a weapon. She pushes the substance within. What's is immediately you feel this surge of bliss. There you
He
go,
smiles.
sweetie. Good boy. You're all right. Cillian Combs. He was a sniper. Always a bit of a gossip. Thinks a bit too hard. Hopefully that'll rub off on you a bit. She pats your cheek lovingly and gently pulls the needle free. Now
How
let's...
little he thinks. Thinking too much, mixing with someone thinking too much of a problem level out.
That's what I'm hoping for. You're getting it. All right. While that stabilizes, let me get you your notes, son. And as if she knows exactly where it is, she roams over to a file cabinet, pulls open the third drawer, and begins to rifle through ancient-looking documents before pulling a small set free. There we are. You returned almost 2 years ago now. I mixed you with a merman, Cyprus Axmony, like I said. Barbarian, used to travel in a Perusian adventuring party. Cillian Combs, Cyprus and Copper Axmony, Caro, and Crystal Snow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kara was
We
with
still
us.
don't understand the significance, but
That's just happy coincidence. Adventurers tend to have the most extreme personalities, and nobody tends to miss them when they leave. So, they made good test subjects whenever things started escalating.
Kara certainly.
yeah, that makes sense.
I know you don't have any reason to believe it, but I really didn't intend to hurt anyone.
Can I insight her?
Roll insight.
How long is
Well, a
this
little late
process
to be
going
worried
to
about
take?
that now.
And go ahead and Caleb while Lucian's rolling.
Yeah.
And how long is this process going to take?
The stabilization? Oh, just a couple minutes.
Ooh, okay.
Does this file say anything about what happened the day I died?
That I actually remember myself. Once Tropu joined us, traveling around and getting test subjects became a lot easier. Using his airship, we could get anywhere in the world in, at most, a few weeks. We traveled all over, finding people. taken anyone we thought wouldn't be missed. But, well, we started gathering up allies, people that are below me. Me, Lucifer, Captain Droop, Dr. Kaloum, and Queen Wyborn. All of us are in what we call the Inner Circle. We get to speak to the Lady in White direct. We answer to her and no one else. Below us, we have the Outer Circle. General Gyoger, Governor Barbarous, Humor, Ergos, and Tebedra.
Yeah, and you certainly repaid the king of Tebedra for his loyalty.
He threatened my son.
But anyway, you can continue.
Everyone has something to get out of it, even if they don't understand exactly what it is they're playing with. King Tebedra said that he knew we were making monsters. He saw what we could do after we sent one to, as a favor, to destroy his village.
Yeah, that
But-
bit Tebedra in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
This little curse eventually grew stronger and spread further.
Well, like I
It
said,
was really weird flirting with that thing.
the Outer Circle has no idea what it is they're playing with. They think we just turn things into other things or make monsters. It's a little bit of both. Once he saw that we could do what we said, he said that he wanted more. He already had children who could give him what he wanted, but he said his newest son was disobedient and didn't take to him. He wanted me to fix it. I told him I can't fix anything if I don't have a body. The Ichor only works if you're dead. So he told me, do what you have to do. I wanted no part of it, but whenever Lucifer and Kaloum got wind, they decided that it would be a chance to stretch their legs.
Lucian looks very,
Lucian,
maybe not angry, but like
your brother
her
is
lip
dead.
is twitching.
I'm just telling you that right now.
Caleb, not now.
What they brought me back was a mess, but I managed to put you back together. Tebedra was happy, said that he would stay on our side as long as we stayed the winners. Lady in White figured that's not going to change, said that that would do, but that he wasn't to be allowed in the Inner Circle until he proved himself trustworthy. He only ever answered to Queen Wyborn. All of them did. She's our mediary to the outsiders. Without her, none of them have any communication to the Lady in White, or to us. I fixed you. Tebedra got what he wanted, and I got a little bit closer to what I wanted.
What's funny is, apparently, what he got was even worse for him.
Can you teach me how to cure him?
The king?
Yes.
Like I said, I don't even know if it's possible. I have to test it. And even if it works, I'm not sure what effects it's gonna have.
Let me help you.
Dude, in the case of the king, did you purposely use someone incompatible?
They told me that they didn't care what I injected him with as long as he was out of the way. He knew too much. He was gonna rat us out. So...
Oh.
But I have research to do. And even seeing Zephyr, I had to confirm my theory. So I tried just hitting him with the nearest syringe I could that felt like a good match. He took to it for a while, but then he started getting sick. My guess is I may have forgotten the catalyst. Maybe if he gets the catalyst back, I can fix it, but that would just stabilize him.
Okay.
And
Otherwise, he'll turn into one of the monsters.
I'll look at Caleb. I think right now what we could do, the best thing for him, is to maybe give him a little bit of this catalyst.
And why would I do that?
To stabilize him.
Exactly.
She
For
shrugs.
what he did, for what he let them do to me, he deserves to die. He deserves to turn into one of those monsters and eat the people that are most close to him. I hope they are aware of what they do when they're monsters. That would make it even better.
Caleb, you see Lucian look at you very strangely, and you kind of realize it's pity.
you can hear Night mutter to herself as she looks over what's his. It's getting worse.
I'll look back to Dr.
What?
Knight.
If I get this stabilizer, I won't be having any more discussions like this anymore, I guess.
It just clears your mind, allows you to think clearly. Don't get me wrong, you have every right to be angry, but not everyone deserves to die for a wrong.
Well, the last few months, I've been trying to think about how I think about you, and this is where I would like to use my insight roll.
Insight?
23.
As far as you can confidently say, she has not lied to you.
So either she is a really good liar, or she's
Or
not
she's
lying.
being completely straightforward with you.
I think that I want to help you.
I don't deserve help.
No, but I'm going to help you anyway.
She lifts up the chair, allowing What's-His to sit up completely now. What's-His, you level up.
Whoops!
She leveled up.
Yeah, remember?
Jeremy turns into a gremlin.
Remember what?
Well,
You noticed months ago that Zephyr had an extra level that the rest of you didn't have. It's because he got the catalyst inserted.
for a while I've been one level higher than everyone. Oh, no.
Nice.
How do you feel, sweetie?
I feel pretty good.
I'm gonna
Alright.
poke him. I'm just gonna like experimentally poke him.
Alright. I didn't make any other changes. I just stabilized what's already in. That can wait till later. Mind if I take a sample, just to make sure the stabilization took?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Alright. She takes another sample and begins to investigate it under a microscope.
Also, do you have any idea why the ichor only shows itself if we injure ourselves or injured by something else with ichor?
That's actually one of the first things I managed to figure out. Substances respond based on what they're exposed to. That's why it took me so long to figure out that this is alchemy. I thought it was chemistry for years until all of you came along. That's what got me thinking it was alchemy. See, honey, she takes your hand, What's-His, and gently presses a scalpel to your palm. May I?
Of
I'll
course.
this, Matthew. Lucian is hovering.
She slices the scalpel across his palm, and he bleeds red.
palm.
The ichor's still in him, but it's dormant. nothing's drawing it, so to speak. It
Right.
only becomes active whenever the body's dead. Or at least normally.
Wait, palm?
Yeah, I was like,
I
he
just
has palm.
realized.
Yeah, I was saying it palm.
Oh, yeah,
Wait a
there's-
minute.
He had no
Yeah,
hands.
yeah, chest. Sorry,
Yeah,
that was
he's-
habit. Didn't think about it. Chest.
Yeah, he's armless.
Yeah, he's armless. No, that was my bad. I completely forgot about that. Your chest, then.
Makes like a little cut on your chest.
Basically, yeah. Now, normally it only becomes active whenever the body dies, but... Sweetie, and she holds out the scalpel to you, Lucian, if you would.
Oh yeah, she takes it.
Make a cut. Opposite side of the chest.
She does so.
And he bleeds black.
What's his like? Ow! You stop cutting me.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, stinging but not, like, deeply painful cuts.
No, I will tell you this. She is actually surprisingly very gentle.
It's becoming active because it knows that more Ichor's nearby. That's why it's infectious. It's drawn to itself. My best theory is that the souls are trying to piece themselves together, which is why I'm hoping that if I get you properly stable, I can lower the risk of infection. And if you allow me to make some modifications to the base formula, I may even be able to prevent it from being infectious at all.
Just be me and Lucian mode, but so both sides of his chest, one is bleeding red and one is bleeding black, correct?
Yes.
So what I want to have Lucian like take her finger and like drag some of the red blood closer to the black blood and just see what happens.
The moment the red blood makes contact with the black, it consumes it.
That's so interesting.
Hey, I was gonna ask this little bit of a weird question. It does only affect blood. It doesn't affect anything else that comes from the body.
Just the blood, sweetie. Although that's probably a fair question. You're getting to be that age.
Like transferable, like you know. And she
Bodily
kind of like
fluids.
makes a subtle gesture.
Not in that way.
Lucian.
It's only transferable either through a blood transfusion, which is normally what I did to all of you on my tables, or if there's ichor in the body that hasn't been processed whenever the body expires.
I'll look to what's his. It's not.
What happens
for
if
my
a
own-
vampire drinks an infected person's blood?
I've been meaning to test that, but I hadn't gotten any conclusive results. My guess is, based on my previous experiments, it would stay dormant until they eventually died. At which point, if they haven't processed it completely, they would turn the same way everyone else does.
So
Just like the food at the ball.
Yeah, that's why we were even there. They wanted me to test if there was other ways to distribute it besides blood.
well,
Lots of people ate the food, but no results.
I mean, didn't you do that with the birds anyway, back in the labs?
That's the thing. All these people are given access to my research, but we don't talk to each other.
Yeah, Lucifer did say something about that.
Seems your little Concord is not very aligned.
Yeah, Lucifer also said that.
Kaloum wants revenge. And what I want is not quite a cosmetic change. I want to be something different. Something better. I don't
Don't
want to be
we
a
all?
monster anymore.
Don't we all?
But
Well,
apparently, in a
I
way,
don't
you'll
think you're a
also
monster.
you'll be different, but the same. Apparently, from what I'm understanding of what you're saying.
Yeah. If you find someone similar enough, and they have this catalyst, and she already is drawing another sample for the next procedure, then you stabilize. You're like how you used to be, but if the two souls are compatible, you balance each other out.
Is this why you want my blood? Do you think that we're compatible?
I think so. We're doctors. We'll do whatever it takes for the ones we love. And we're both stubborn jackasses when the mood strikes us.
But the
Ah,
stabilizer,
there's
though,
that
can it
name
stabilize?
again.
Can the stabilizer stabilize from any percentage, or is there like a minimum it could work from?
They need to be at least 50% compatible by my measure. I've never gotten anyone below that to stabilize even with the catalyst.
Interesting. And would it affect one's opinions and feelings of others?
Potentially, but only, well, generally for the best. Before, I don't think you would have questioned your father as much as you do now. He always said you were stubborn, but I can read between the lines. There's a difference between a lonely boy who still follows directions and a boy who's ready to make it on his own. Father be damned. What I'm trying to fix here is just making sure you can be independent without being aggressive. That you can be free without being evil. I don't want you to be the monster he tried to make you into. That's never what I wanted for you.
Or what is it you expected? So that's what you expected me to gain from the soul you put in me?
I paired you with someone who was strong and who knew his place in the world, but he was sweet and kind. Shy, according to the interrogations.
What happens to my brother if you do this with me? Because he told me that the only reason that he was like doing anything was because like he was being told to. Or was that a lie?
Well, that's all of us. I think Wyborn and Kaloum are the only people getting what they really want out of this. Lucifer thinks he is, but
Lucian looks at her, kind of like not knowing if she wants the question in her head answered.
all of us have something different we're trying to achieve. And all of them are poisoning my research for their own ends.
What is it that he wants?
You've seen what my research can do. I never intended for it to be used that way, but leave it to an Alephakir to think of it. Sure, it works as a cheap polymorph. Turn someone into something else, fix what's wrong with them. But he was the one who figured out that it could raise the dead.
Yeah, I was afraid
Yes,
you were
I
going
ha-
to say that.
That is where
He
we're
wa-
going to end tonight's session.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck off!
He wants a big happy family again.
Yep. No, I 100% like as soon as he started explaining, my brain went, "Yep."
I'm working on a surprise for you, Lucian.
I'm sure it's gonna be great.
I think I already know what the fuck it is.
Yeah. No.
I think you
Yes.
already know what the fuck it is. I think everybody here already knows what you're gonna
I
find there
absolutely
now.
know.
He
Oh,
bought your
man.
old home. He
Yes.
wants to use it to raise the dead.
Mm-hmm.
Big
And
happy family.
Unlike necromancy, the Ichor can keep someone's soul intact.
Yeah, he just wants
And
to play house.
according to Knight, you're free to make any modifications you want.
Yeah, he just wants to play house. That's all.
I got new dollies! Aren't you proud of me,
Oh,
Lucian?
How many times, Lucifer? Really?
Also, out of curiosity, Duck Knight seems like they may be one to note a lot of details. Did their files specify exactly what was done to Caleb when Lucifer and the other guy attacked him?
It sounded like you were taking a look at it yourself, which she would have allowed. She said that you were a mess when she got a hold of you, but I'll say looking over the file, she doesn't stop you, and now that she has an idea of where it is. She doesn't know exactly, but from what she can tell, your body was cursed when she got it. Your throat was cut, and you were shot 3 times.
Pew pew pew.
Alright, just taking notes of what he's going to do to Lucifer and Gloom.
Don't touch my brother,
Hey.
and I'm not even joking about that.
Well, you can not joke about
Gloom
all
is
you
King
want.
can be added to that list.
No, he's
Is this
Guess
where
who
the
knows,
party
maybe-
finally murders each other?
I mean, but who knows? Maybe the stabilizer will assuage him from his path of revenge.
Yeah, that's what Dr. Knight's hoping. Your
Yeah.
father was the one who wanted to make a killer. She just wanted to make a sweet boy who could defend himself.
So she really didn't give him what he actually wanted.
Got neither of them.
Yeah, she failed on both fronts, but she's hoping to fix that mistake now.
Yeah.
Either way, I gotta get
curious.
going to bed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
so,
curious
so
about
yeah,
all
since
the
you gotta
stuff.
go, but while I'm doing the outro, do you have fun, Jer?
I did. I was not expecting to actually, like Dr. Knight.
No, all the villains have shit like this going on. Any
Wanna-
complaints?
Repeat, my mind went blank.
Oh, any complaints?
Comments,
His
complaints,
brain said
or
white.
No,
say
no
condiments?
complaint.
All right,
Like,
in that case,
I am very happy with how this story is going.
all right, cool. All right, in that case, I'm glad you had a good time. You go ahead. I'll do the outro and take care of everyone else after.
Yeah. Love you.
Check out our website at officiald5hub.info. Down for maintenance at the moment, but soon to be resurrected from the grave like a filthy necromancer who just wants his family back.
Yes.
Check out our link in chat to join our official D5 Discord server if you want to hang out with us directly. Support our episodes posted on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, and the iHeart Podcast Network, wherever you happen to get them from. For our audio listeners, catch us live on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time on twitch.tv/Odd Tornado Productions. Check out Odd Tornado Productions Official on Tumblr to find links to our other works, including our Human Rogues Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Killer5. That is 5 with a PH, don't get it wrong. If you enjoy what we do, please support us on Patreon. That link to be posted as well. On Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/Odd Tornado Productions, and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/TornadoOdd. The TNO are capitalized if you want to get immediate updates whenever we go live, as well as updates on everything else we're doing. And if you want to see more of this party, plus or minus a few, tune in Mondays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time for our Monday game Under Locks and Keys, featuring a party of globe-trotting treasure hunters assembling the artifacts of the gods to open or seal the divine doorway. Thanks everyone at the table so much for playing. Thanks everyone at home so much for watching. And we'll see you all next week.